Hello and welcome to Preface. This is an exclusive interview on the sidelines of the 28th Algiers International Book Fair, Sila 2025. Today we're honored and privileged to be joined by His Excellency Ambassador Wolfgang Spaindinger, the newly appointed Ambassador of the Republic of Austria to Algeria, attending his first Sila Book Fair. Your Excellency Ambassador Spaindinger, welcome to Algiers and welcome to Preface.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share ideas with the audience here. And I'm generally extremely impressed by my first 2 months here in Algiers, and the fact that you have an excellent and fine book fair here with Sila gives us the opportunity to be present here, because it is important for Austria, because Austria believes in cultural exchange, Austria believes in dialogue. It is not a big country with a superpower army. It is a modest and medium-sized economy, but an open one for the international sphere. But on the cultural area, we think that we have a fond and ample heritage which is still driving us further, and we want to cooperate with other cultures, with other countries, and so the book fair gives us a very good opportunity to do so.
Thank you. So we start our questions. You have just given us a brief presentation. What does it mean now for Austria to be here at Sila? And what are you hoping like for this cultural exchange like this book fair will achieve between Algeria and Austria?
It achieves a lot, because I see the interest is here. You see men, women and children, you see whole families coming, and this is a very important thing, that everybody from small children to the older generation, they are still interested in reading books. And so this gives the opportunity, and we are enjoying of that opportunity in the framework of the European Union, which has managed to have a stand where all the 27 member countries of the European Union are present. And so we took that opportunity and say, yes, we will be picking 2 authors of contemporary Austrian literature and be presenting them to the audience here.
So, is it mainly cultural exchange, or are there deeper cooperation, for example, in education, translation, and also co-productions?
Of course, there is opportunity for everything. This should and we need to be. It needs to be seen how this would be unfolding. That depends very much also on the political will that we have. I learned so far that here in Algiers and in Algeria in general, many things involve also the government, and a dialogue and an exchange and accreditation between the 2 governments. So this is a slow process in some areas. In others, it is quicker. So we'll have to see exactly where it is figuring out, and where progress can be made more speedily than in others. We know from already our experience that there is a great interest of the Algerian youth to learn German language, which is of course an important precondition, for example, to do studies, which in Austria we offer at either German language or English language. But there is an interest there, and I think that will be growing, because I think here is a young generation which is also very open, wants to explore the world and wants to see different countries and different cultures.
Thank you. So Austria's conference earlier featured Tanja Reich and Monika Helfer, who are 2 important contemporary voices, as you mentioned. How do you see literature as a tool for building mutual understanding, particularly when it comes to modern stories and young readers?
It does, absolutely, because I mean those 2, they are from a younger generation of authors, and they are both women. And I think this is also very important, because for centuries also literature has been dominated by men. But now with those generations we have women are heard, and women, they are asking different questions, and they are seeing at things from a different angle. So far, when a birth of a child, which is the topic or the main topic of the book by Tanja Reich, the birth of a child was always seen on the perspective of the family is growing and the child is born. It's always the child's perspective. But here she draws very much the attention to what happens to the mother. And that is a mother who lives in the modern times, a mother who is employed in a job. And all of a sudden, with the upcoming birth of the child, everything of that construct of her personal life is shaken. It is changed. Now and at the end, she is forced to move in with the husband, with his family, and to assume a more traditional role, which at first she wanted to abandon.
Yes. So are there any plans to support translation of Austrian works into both Arabic and French, because they are widely spoken in Algeria, or to bring Algerian writers to Austria?
This is a very good question. Thank you very much for it. I think we are a little bit better underway, of course, with the French, because we have traditionally more ties to that area, and of course this is still Europe, and there is a big market also in neighboring Swiss, which is a neighboring country to Austria. There is already a portion of French readers. Then you have France and other countries, so there are also the connections to the publishing houses. With Arab, our experience is newer, but we have, and this is a good coincidence, we have a very active cultural forum of Austria, which means it's like a cultural institute within the framework of an embassy, and we have one in Cairo, Egypt, and they have been facilitating also translations, and the book of Tanja Reich was one of it, which are now available in Arabic, and I think for the Algerian readers it is very good, and it is very important also for us to state that we are trying to bring the Austrian literature home to the Algerians in both of those languages.
Yes, so it is the cultural exchange. So in that context, education and youth exchange often cement long-term relations. So are there concrete plans or pilot projects you'd like to see, like between Austria or Austrian and Algerian universities, especially in literature, language, or even arts?
We would like to develop those relations, and as maybe a precursor to it, we are planning to have a cooperation project together with the University of Algiers. I think it is Algiers 2, where we have some ideas to have a joint presentation with Swiss and German colleagues, also featuring a small exhibition on art, where we want to have ties directly with the universities, with the professors, among the students, because it is languages are key. Still, you have all these translation programs, and you have Google and DeepL, but the best thing is still to see the fine lines and also non-verbal conversation. You need to have people. You need to have people who learn the culture of the other ones, who also learn the language and the culture. And so we see a number growing of German speakers, pupils in schools who want to learn German. There is a number also of Austrians interested in Arabic. It is maybe not so known, it would not be maybe the first choice to look at Algeria, but I think once all those students detected the beauty of the Algerian desert, I think the numbers would be growing as well.
Indeed. Thank you. What about the art? How can Algeria and Austria exchange or make this exchange possible within the arts?
Within art, it's partly because if you leave literature and if you come to other forms of art, if you come to painting, if you come to films, if it comes to especially music,
Music, yes.
you have no borders. You have no borders, and this is really great. If you play music, particularly imagine yourself playing music to small kids, like 5, 7-year-olds. And they would be dancing and moving to the music. It is totally irrelevant which language or which culture they come from. So it is just a natural thing to dance and to move to music, to have positive emotions with music. Therefore, music is especially one of the areas where we are focusing at. Every year we have a certain number of musicians who will be also coming to Algiers, participating in different activities from classical music to the more avant-garde thing, and I'm impressed personally, having heard about Algerian music here, what variety also you find here, from Rai to Jabi to the Kabyle music. So there's a great variety, and you would see also, and we would discover in dialogue, that there is also growing variety of music in Austria, because as I said, which is valid for the literature, the fact that nowadays in modern Austria you have great number of people with a migration background. So they are coming from countries such as Serbia, Romania, Hungary, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Ukraine, now in the plight and the situation they are having, Turkey, Syrians. So from a great number of countries you have the people dropping into Vienna or total Austria, and then interacting, mixing, mingling with the Austrian population. And in all the arts, this is something that can make the small Austria great again in arts. Because we have seen such a situation when Austria, around 120 years ago, it was a big empire.
Yes.
It was Austria-Hungarian Empire with a total population of 50 million people. So it was about the population that Algeria has now, and comprising 11 nationalities, writing in 3 different alphabets even. So this was something where you had, and the melting pot and the epicenter of all the convergence of this culture was Vienna. So the people were coming together in Vienna, and they were exchanging their ideas, their backgrounds, their literature, their art, and fortunately enough also their cuisines.
Yes. On a different note, so Austria often emphasizes soft power, culture, as you were mentioning, dialogue, and also cooperation. So how does cultural diplomacy at events like Sila, the International Book Fair, help support regional stability and mutual respect across the Mediterranean?
I think books play a very important role in this. Whenever in history, in bad times, in the dark ages, whether that in the Middle Age or in modern times, there were dark corners of the history. You had things like book burnings. So somebody was forcing others to make piles of books, and they were burned. And always when that happens, the next disaster was looming around the corner. So that was with the Russian Revolution, later it was with the Nazis, and I think the latest examples we have had with the Taliban. So always if books are burning, people are burning next. If books are kept as something to be cherished, as something to be read, it is a good thing. And if you have this cultural exchange, if you're cherishing and reading the books, if you urge the fantasy of yours and maybe your children, you will not be fighting each other.
Yes, indeed. So earlier within the panel or within the conference, we saw the presence of the Algerian actor Hassan Khashash, who read the books of both your authors. So our film and theater are both powerful. So would Austria consider co-productions or co-filming opportunities with Algerian filmmakers and also theater companies?
I think this is a very good idea, because I think just from the scenery that Algeria offers so much in terms of interesting sceneries, I think taking opportunity of profiting from the Algerian desert or from some places like oases could add to a lot of films an ideal background. Of course, institutionally, film projects are very often quite expensive projects, but Austria is venturing more and more into international filmmaking as well. There is, for example, a growing number of Indian companies coming to Austria. That's the reverse direction, and doing their screening and I mean the film production actually in Austria, because a lot of the mountain sceneries they are attractive to the Bollywood film industry.
Yes.
So it might, on the other way around, it might be interesting of taking advantage of what is here in Algeria and to forge those contracts. But maybe personalities like Hassan Kashash could be like a door opener into a world which we both, I think, would have advantages to explore.
Indeed. Ambassador, as we know, public diplomacy is more than an event. So how can embassies increase visibility of cultural programs beyond the capital, Algiers? For example, they would reach students, towns and communities across the country, across Algeria itself.
This is absolutely right, because and I'm coming back to my own story. I'm not from Vienna, from the capital. I'm from Innsbruck, which is the western part of Austria, which is 500 kilometers away. And Austria is as such a so-called federal country. Yes. So you have, in addition to the national state, you have also the regions. We could compare them to the wilayas here, but they are quite, in some areas they have their own competencies. So regional thinking is very important for us. That being said, presentations outside the capital are important as well. Of course, we have infrastructural restrictions, and as we are not having a fully fledged cultural forum or cultural institute here, we always need partners, and so it depends on the willingness, on the readiness, and on the cooperation of local partners to bring programs also outside the capital Algiers. This year there has already been a very fruitful cooperation with music performance of Austrian musicians with our partner institution in Oran, and I think that could set the pace for maybe next year. Maybe we could also envisage doing it in other place, but we are open to everything in that respect.
Especially with universities.
Especially with universities, of course.
Students who are interested in the language, in German, for example, or the art.
That is right, and that brings me maybe to an addition that we can, in addition to physical presence, do also quite a growing number of things virtually and online. Our embassy in Cairo and its cultural forum, which I have already mentioned, is now in a test phases of doing online activities over the internet, also with other countries. So we would be following that very interested, and maybe there would be an opportunity also for in a further step for Algerian participants, experts, to get into interaction with experts in other countries, with Austrians, in events which are done also in English and in Arabic.
Yes, indeed. So back to Sila 2025, if you could leave one cultural message for young Algerian readers and writers as well, what would it be?
You see, in these times where everybody, in whatever circumstances, you look at people, and you look particularly at young people, one of the dangers that we are witnessing is that everybody is entering and seldomly leaving their own bubble, which is the environment of a cell phone. And the environment of a cell phone produces easy entertainment. I am not saying that cell phones are not useful,
Sometimes a distraction.
But they are taking so much away of the creativity. If somebody is reading a book, then, especially with the young generation, then in the fantasy, it produces a picture. And in that picture, you have imagination, you have creativity. You can think what could be meant, how the story can be altered, what can be done with it, how it could be built up to develop other ideas. It's not, and today you're, excuse my French, you're looking at crap coming out of TikTok, where everything is just done, and it's just for a cheap gag, and everybody is just consuming and absorbing and forgetting the next second what they have even seen. So the occupation with books, which has a certain ambition to the brain, to the creativity, also to the interaction with others, because you're telling, you're relating what you have seen, is a very good one. And the signs I have seen in this book fair are extremely encouraging, because I see great number of people, of young people, being interested. Of course, literature also needs to adapt it in a certain way, to be focusing on what is important today, to be focusing on audiences. Maybe one of the authors I have not presented before, but maybe he is known in Algeria as well, because he's known in many countries, is the Austrian author Thomas Brezina, who has written books on his protagonist Tom Turbo, which is for about audience maybe 8 to 14 years old, how to have nice little detective stories at a young age, involving also technology, but not in a destructive, but in a creative way. And so I think that would be, or along those lines, that could be ways forward.
Ambassador, before we close, if you could announce one concrete initiative or promise from Austria to Algeria in the coming time or in the coming future, what would it be?
Well, there is certainly, as I have mentioned it before, there will be our activity, which is a common lecture about the languages, plus an art exhibition at the Algiers University, which we are carrying out with our Swiss and German partners in maybe the next 2 months, determining the schedule. But everything, what will be happening, will also be published on the embassy's Facebook page. So we are hoping that we could attract as many participants as possible.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. You are the ambassador of Austria to Algeria, Mr. Wolfgang Spaindinger. Thank you for your presence and for all your insights here on Preface at Sila 2025.
So shukran for inviting me, and thank you very much.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you, seeing the development of cultural exchange, educational, maybe literary, between Algeria and Austria in the future. Dear viewers, thank you for being with us. Stay tuned for more exclusive interviews on Preface, the sidelines of the special interviews of the International Book Fair of Algiers.